The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
With so many people living longer, the fear of outliving your money becomes a reality for many of us. Will I be a financial burden? Will I outlive my money? How will I be remembered? My name is Neil Himmelstein, president of Main Street Planning Group. Please contact me by visiting mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. I will introduce you to strategies that will guarantee you will not outlive your money, that can guarantee you will not be a burden on your loved ones. Through a collaborative approach, we will uncover solutions that offer tax-efficient strategies, lifetime income, and legacy planning, choice, organization, direction, and education. That is the code we stand behind. Contact mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. And listen to me every Friday at 3 p.m. as I host the Main Street Code for Financial Success, right here on 103.9 LI News Radio. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. I'm here every Friday at 3 o'clock. If you miss an episode, you can always go to the mainstreetcode.com, or if you listen to podcasts, we're on Apple and Spotify, and you can always go to the website at 103.9 and find live streaming and I think some past episodes now that you can now retrieve from the radio stations, which is fantastic. And I'm so happy to be here. When we talk about our code, we talk about choice, organization, direction, and education. And we help hundreds of advisors across the United States with life insurance settlements, disability, long-term care, and annuities. And that's where we are experts, and that's where we shine. And we work with lots of different attorneys and accountants in helping you solve your financial solutions and help quarterback financial things. And today I really want to talk about a couple of really great things we did for families this week, some really nice success stories that will help you to understand why working with us makes a difference in your life. So, one situation just happened where we had a client for many years, one of my agents, for a good 20 years has been his client, and he bought a term insurance policy. He was an attorney, and he moved down to Florida, and the term was coming to an end. And we noticed it. We called him and said, hey, this is coming to an end. You are able to convert it to something permanent if you like. And he called and he spoke to the husband and the wife, and apparently the husband now has Alzheimer's and had to give up his law practice, and their finances are dwindling, and the wife has had to go and work additional hours to keep the income coming in at 65, and he's 70, and she's working a lot of hours plus taking care of him. It's very stressful on them. And they can't buy new insurance for him, and they can't afford to convert it to something. At his age, the price goes from what they were paying $200 a month to $32,000 a year. They can't afford it. And as a matter of fact, they have run out of a lot of assets, and they've gone to an elder law attorney to do planning, because eventually they're going to run out of assets on him, and he's going to need Medicaid and maybe need nursing care, and they don't have enough money to last their lifetime, so they're freaking out a little bit. So one of the things she did is, I can't afford to keep this insurance, but she was listening to TV, and they said, you can sell your life insurance policy. And so she called one of those 800 numbers, and they're very good advertising. I mean, it makes you aware that you really do have an asset, even if it's term insurance. That life insurance is a liquid asset. It's not just, okay, I've been paying term, there's no cash value, is it worth anything? So she called one of these companies, and they said, we can get you $25,000 for it. I said, hold on a second. So the rep called me up, and together we're able to get her $170,000 $1,000 for her policy. What a difference this is making in their life. So we just completed that with them. They're getting a check for $170,000 for this policy. And with that money, she needs some sort of protection for herself for long-term care. So we're going to, not only is she following through with the legal end and protecting for Medicaid with a trust attorney, but we're also going to be buying a long-term care program for her to protect her so she can have people come in the house if she falters. And truthfully, taking on more work when you're 65 and taking care of a spouse and taking care of the home is very physically and emotionally tearing on people to the point where they're going to need help without question for themselves at some point. There's no way you can keep up with that pace of the stress of having to bring in more income to the house, putting more income because you can't make it last through retirement, and having to take care of someone else and taking care of the house and taking care of general duties, especially when the spouse is incapacitated. Very difficult. So we are rescuing this family and doing a nice job. And there's a lot of points to be made here. One is we work for you to help you get the most out of everything, which is why you want to call us. That's point number one. Point number two, the elder attorney may be a great elder attorney. I don't know the elder attorney, and may be doing the right legal documents to do things, but there's a missing piece. There's an asset there that we were able to create for them that wasn't there before. They were going to let it go and, okay, the term's over, we're done. So we have no insurance. So now at least they're getting something for it and protecting them for the future. So working with the attorney, we're providing a solution. And then further to that, another solution of a potential problem, if she needs care, is having a bucket of money for her care so that they don't have to go through everything and they can live their lives. This is life-saving for them. So that's why you use us. That occurred this week. We have another situation this week that happened as well. And this is typical of the industry, and I want to go into it. So we had a client who came through us, through one of our agents, and the underwriters came back because of a blood test, or the company said, okay, we're going to give him a standard rate of pricing. And there was no underwriter. Basically, there was a marker in his urine or his blood that said, oh, this marker is off. They take now the insurance companies, most of them are going to what they call AI underwriting, where they're not really using real underwriters. They're using robots, basically, and they're plugging in data and spitting it out and saying, okay, this person is of a standard rate, not a preferred rate. Now, what does that mean, the difference between standard and preferred? Well, I can tell you the difference is between $10,000 a year or $15,000 a year. Now, you multiply that over 30 years, because the guy's 50 years old, you're talking about $150,000 difference. So my internal underwriter, who I've had on my show, Carmen, had him take 2 more additional tests, which came back perfect. We went back to the insurance company and got him preferred. So we've saved him over $150,000 over his lifetime and made it affordable so he can achieve the goals for his family. Most people don't go that extra step. If you call an 800 number and buy insurance, you will never get that extra step. And relying on robots to underwrite people, although they're trying to say, oh, we're doing it quicker, we're doing better, without that people element, without us getting involved and engaged and finding a solution and then taking it to a real underwriter, that never would have happened. We do this every day. We're saving people money and getting better coverage because of the human element that is so lost today in many things that we're doing. And insurance companies are trying to do things quicker, faster, cheaper, but we're old school, and by doing it faster and cheaper, the consumer is getting the squeeze. We're trying to save you money, and we're going that extra step to get you what you need so you can afford it. So that's the Main Street difference. That's why I hope that you'll reach out to us and let us help you solve some of your insurance issues. You're listening to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. My name is Neil Himmelstein. If you'd like to get a hold of me, the best way is 631-647-4694. That's 631-647-4694. We'll be right back after a commercial. Thank you. Welcome back to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. If you're just joining us, I talked about two situations we helped out this week. One was doing a life settlement for somebody who needed the money now for their retirement, which we got them for something they were going to throw away, a term policy which was ending, and they couldn't afford to keep it anymore at the client's age. We got him $170,000. And another client who was saving for retirement and buying insurance coverage and suffered the burdens of the insurance company saying, you're not a preferred risk. And the difference in underwriting, which we're really good at, is us going back and getting him that preferred risk by doing some extra tests and knowing exactly what to do to get him that better class and going to an underwriting and getting that done. There's another situation, I talked about this several weeks ago, but come to fruition, which has taken me about 8 months. And it's something, the first time I've done it, and I think you need to know how big this was. So we had a gentleman, 74 years old, who was declined for life insurance coverage, very large policy, and he was declined by most carriers because of his current medical history, which is, on the surface it's not significant, but sometimes when you have multiple things going on, to an insurance company is significant because they don't want to take the risk of insuring somebody who has multiple impairments that will affect their life moving forward. So he was a difficult case to underwrite to begin with. One of the things I did with him is we got his medical information, and I sat with head underwriters at a conference with 10 different insurance companies that I thought would possibly make an offer. And I've got a couple of bites. He wasn't going to get the best rating, but I got a couple of offers, and I was very happy that I got a couple of offers, but it didn't end there. During the underwriting process, after taking an application, we found out that he had an MIB hit. It's called Medical Information Bureau hit, which occurred when another insurance company tried to write him 8 years ago, or maybe longer, back from a medical record in 2016 that said he had cancer, which would have precluded him with his other issues of getting any coverage whatsoever. So now he's a decline. He categorically denied that he had cancer in the past. Absolutely denied. But the insurance company wrote to the Medical Information Bureau, we are declining him because he has cancer. So we had to find out what insurance company that was, which we did. We went back to that insurance company, which we did. We needed to find out what doctor had said it. They told us. We had the client go back to the doctor. He no longer had the records from there. He denied saying it. We then were able, from the old insurance company where he applied, able to obtain the doctor's record from 2016 where he stated it. We went back to the doctor where he disclaimed it and said that was a mistake. He wrote in writing, it's a mistake. We went back to the Medical Information Board. Now, the Medical Information Board I described a couple weeks ago, we call it the MIB. It's not Men in Black. It's, we're not fighting aliens here. But the Medical Information Board is a tracking, like a credit check of your health that insurance companies use to make decisions on whether they're going to insure you or not. And I can't emphasize enough, get a copy of your doctor's reports, go through them. I went through mine last night, and my doctor had reported, one of my doctors reported something that was inaccurate, and I get them corrected immediately. And this is not the first time. For me personally, this is the third or fourth error I've seen in the last 6 months from a doctor or a MRI that was incorrect, that I've had corrected on my records. Because once they put it down, it just goes with you like you missed a car payment. Okay? It goes with you forever. So you got to... This is the first time I've gone back to the Medical Information Board, which they're not easy to get a hold of, and they corrected it. And guess what? Now I can offer them coverage. Now I have 2 insurance companies that said, we're going to offer you the coverage that you want. I am like blown away happy for this client. I've spent 8 months getting this done for him, and he's thrilled. I'm thrilled. I love helping people, but nobody in the past has helped them, and nobody to find the record and to go back. That's the difference in working with us. And I don't know of any other company that's ever done this, has gone back and found the record, gone back to the doctor recanted what he said from 2016, and finding that hole to accomplish what he's trying to get done and get that coverage. That's the difference in working with us, right there in a nutshell. Between that and some of the other things, and this isn't one-time occurrences. We're doing things every single day to help people. Every single day. Call us old school, call us whatever you want. The newer agencies, the newer reps, they're not doing this. They don't know how to do it, and they're not doing it. Most people work on volume. We work on success. It's a big difference. Volume versus success. Achieving your goals. Getting you the best price. There's so much emphasis on society on Googling everything and finding the answers and getting the cheapest price. You're not getting the cheapest price by shopping online. I'm sorry. To get the cheapest price, you have to have the best companies, and you have to have the companies that are going to listen and going to want to underwrite and listen to you. We had another situation a couple years back. 74-year-old gentleman, again. Why do we have so many issues? Because as we get older, we have more medical things on our record. Just like our credit record is older, our medical history is now so much older. So there's so much more information about us. There's so many more things that could have gone wrong in our lifetime, or not gone wrong, or mechanically, this organ, that organ, this could happen. That there's so much data on us that when they find things, we have to fight to get them right or help with it. So this gentleman had a score for prostate cancer that was so high, when they look at scores, and especially now with artificial underwriting, when you don't even have a real person looking at your medical history, you have a robot looking at it, and they say, well, if it says this, you have that. If this says that, if you're taking this medicine, you have this ailment. If you have this, and this is why we're going to underwrite you this way, without a real person involved. And the insurance companies are doing that to save money. Their money, not your money, their money, their costs, not your costs. So it puts the emphasis on me to help you get over that hurdle. You would never know why is that insurance company making that decision on my life? Why is that happening? We find out. Okay. So his score, which has to be under 4, otherwise it's considered cancer, was 10.6. I had 5 insurance companies that said, I'm sorry, we're not going to insure you, sir. We found out. I asked the client, you do any activities like horseback riding? He sells horseback riding equipment. He goes horseback riding every day, which makes the prostate inflamed and drove up his score to these ridiculous numbers. They ran a special test. One insurance company said, we're going to run a test on his blood. And he said, you know what, Neil? You're right. We got him best class. We got him several $1 million of coverage at best class because they went the extra mile with the underwriter. We went the extra mile to find it, and we solved the problem for somebody. That's what we do every day. You've been listening to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. If you'd like to get a hold of me, Neil Himmelstein, 631-647-4694. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Thank you.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.